Hello everyone, this is Krota giving you a shoutcast in a game between Mouse Moro and Mouse Hasu here on Shattered Temple. Unfortunately, I was able to cast about 10 minutes of the game, and then my computer just completely crashed on me and I lost everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through the game one more time. It looked to be a very interesting game already to start. But this is also the anti-spoiler video. Decided to find a Protoss versus Zerg excuse me, Protoss versus Zerg matchup, and that way it wasn't as obvious. Hopefully, you guys from the the little thumbnail can't actually read that it's Hasu versus Moro. If it is, then oh well. The anti-spoiler video somewhat worked on some of you guys, probably not on everyone else. But yeah, this is Mouse Moro versus Mouse Hasu, and I'll mention a couple things, and I'll think I have deja vu since I've already said these things before. Now, Moro and Hasu are part of Mouse Sports, so I'm sure that they play against each other fairly often. And whenever you play against someone that you play against often, you start playing the player and not playing against the race. That is one of the differences between high-level StarCraft 2 versus your standard laddering. You end up starting to play against the actual player and their tendencies, whether they try to fast expand, whether they try to be aggressive very early on and try to get an economic and try to get a lead through early attacking and those sorts of things. We now have Moro spawning as at the 6 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Hasu, let's take a look at the Protoss as the red Protoss here at the 12 o'clock location. This is going to be a cross spawn, and because of this, air units are going to become very, very powerful, especially the fast-moving ones, such as Mutalisk or Phoenixes. Phoenixes are very, very effective against early Zerg, especially if Zerg does not scout out that Stargate. Because of the very fast build time on a Phoenix, 25 seconds with the Chrono Boost, they're able to pop out, and then you can easily mass up 5 of them very early on in a matchup, and then just own the skies for quite a while. If the Zerg player doesn't have the Spore Crawlers in time, if the Zerg player doesn't have the Queens down in time, then that's just becomes the really, really strong tipping point, as trying to catch up by trying to train Queens and trying to build Spore Crawlers is rarely ever good enough. The Probe just wandering around here, being a little bit more of a harassing unit than anything else, and now we'll be able to just come along the backside and trying to get as much sight and scout information as possible. Moro going for a fast expansion down, or an expansion here at the before the 4-minute mark, so a pretty standard expansion attempt by Zerg. Zerg able to establish those expansions much earlier. Excuse me. Much earlier, just because it does cost 100 minerals less. But then again, you do end up losing your drone in there as well. Drone still wandering around on the inside, and there you go. Hasu does set up a second assimilator. And with double assimilators inside a base, you really don't know what a Protoss is truly trying to go for, because of the cost of a sentry off of gateways, 50 minerals and 100 gas. The Protoss is able to build up a strong defensive army for a fast expansion while saving up minerals for a Nexus. Or they may try to go into a Stargate or a standard robotics facility and play defensively that way. Zergling's unable to break through this one Zealot as a Zealot, and fighting Zerglings one at a time, able to get a lot of damage in. And now this one drone still wandering on the inside, getting a lot of just a lot of information. And I think this is on patrol, actually. So this drone on patrol on the inside here, Hasu is going to get some damage onto this drone. Drone is going to take, I believe, 5 shots because of that natural regeneration. So 5 shots to shut down that drone, and now we'll see what else is being built. We have a gateway here, and now we finally have that Stargate that I was talking about earlier. Stargate's very effective, and taking a look at Moro. Moro does not have an evolution chamber just quite yet, so that's going to be an issue. On top of that, he's not training any additional queens, so only at 1 queen on each base. That's going to become very, very devastating for him. We also have a Zergling just making sure that there is no expansion down over here. And as soon as the sentries and stalkers finish off that Zergling, I'm assuming that Moro thinks that it is going to be an expansion attempt, but it is not going to be an expansion attempt. It is going to be Phoenixes or Void Rays coming out in just a moment. We are getting finally a second queen and an evolution chamber, so that may be coming in just in time. Depending on how many Phoenixes are being trained and the positioning on that Spore Crawler, The Spore Crawler may be or may not be within combat range. One thing to note, this is part of patch 132, not 133, so the root time on a Spore Crawler is a full 6 or 12 seconds instead of 6. As one Phoenix is already out, Hasu most likely just going to continue to just train up multiple Phoenixes. You can already see it or already predict it coming with one Phoenix now slowly gathering energy, and there's that second Phoenix with that Chrono Boost. We are getting those Spore Crawlers and now 2 Spine Crawlers out, so this is a very defensive style by Moro. I'm trying to make sure that he has enough base defense, but I don't think he has actually enough defense to fight off against these Phoenixes. These Phoenixes, which are masked so easily, 25 seconds with a Chrono Boost, and then if you have a second Nexus, you can essentially just start Chrono Boosting 5 Phoenixes in under 2 minutes. They're just going to pop out and just get a lot of pressure and a lot of damage. I'm simply just waiting to see who's going to be making that first move so far. As Zerglings and the melee attack currently being upgraded, we are teching the tier 2 as well, so hopefully Hydralisk will be trained at some point. 3 Phoenixes already starting to mass up. You can see that there's an Overlord by Moro. Moro doesn't see that there is a Stargate down over here, as we are now going to be going into 4 Phoenixes. So Phoenix is going to clean up many of those Overlords, and Moro going to be in a world of hurt in just a moment, as he doesn't have any real way to pull back with these Overlords. And now you can see that Moro will become supply locked in just a moment after losing this one particular Overlord. Down goes one Overlord. Queen now coming over, and a Spore Crawler uprooting at just the wrong time. Poor Queen is going to get destroyed in just a matter of seconds as that Queen, down it goes, and now the Spore Crawler is in play, getting some damage onto those units, and now picking up some of those drones. And now as he's able to get some of that drone kills down, Moro is going to have a difficult time harvesting any additional gas. Another Overlord now shut down over here as more Phoenixes getting added to this group. And an army of, 5 Phoenixes now across the map, getting so much damage. Graviton beaming another Queen as the Spore Crawler is once again uprooted and unable to attack back. Another Overlord now shot down as well. The Spore Crawler cannot be Graviton beamed, even while it is uprooted. And there's another Spore Crawler here. So the Spore Crawler's range does have a range of 7, but the Phoenixes with a range of 4, able to get the damage in pretty easily, and just putting constant pressure left and right. You are going to see that the Phoenixes are trying to hold their own against any additional units, and pretty much have nothing to really challenge them. There's no Queens in play, not enough Queens to really counter this army so far, as Overlords now finally get that movement speed upgrade, and that Queen wants to try to fight back and get some damage onto that Phoenix. The Queen able to get some damage, but just too far away. The Phoenixes with that range of 4 able to just pick up drones from far away and shoot them down. There is a hatchery being built over here as the Phoenixes are on the move. Taking a look at the losses, 1550 by Moro. Hasu currently sitting at 0 resources lost, as we are now going into a robotics facility. So the robotics facility and a robo bay already coming in. We will be getting Colossus, and the Colossus will own the ground as the Phoenixes rule the air. Probe still wandering around back over here. We are going to be, no chrono boosting off of the Nexuses, as the Harvester count 62 to 51. So although a lot of damage has been dealt, it looks as though Moro isn't that far behind, only down currently ahead up 9 drones. Army-wise, you can still see that Moro doesn't have very much of anything, 900 over 0, as another hatchery coming into play. We are getting that infestation pit. And that infestation pit is going to be very effective at stopping some of those Phoenixes, as that Queen and now those Phoenixes deciding to back off once more. Zerglings now making their way across the map. Perhaps they're going to try to put some pressure onto the backdoor rocks here, as there is an expansion here by Hasu. Phoenixes will do a flyby or fly over the Zerglings. No, they will not, as the Zerglings are trying to peck away at these units over here. And it looks as though, yes, Banelings trying to set up a bombing run along the backside in just a moment. Is it going to be able to actually find their target is the key question. That Overlord now just hovering around the edges, nothing truly over here, and he may be able to do a bombing run on both sides. So it is going to be a double bombing run by Moro. Moro getting a ton of kills. Wow, so multiple workers lost there. 13 workers killed versus 9 so far, as another bombing run about to happen. And this is going to be absolutely critical if Moro can actually fight back into this game so far. And oh, the Banelings not finding their target all too well, not going to get that much damage, and now the Stalkers are going to be able to destroy that there. Taking a look at the workers killed, yeah, 13 against 9. Harvester count 81 compared to 51. Wow. 81 to 51, so that pure power drone for just a moment, allowing Moro to now take a very commanding mineral lead and resource lead at this stage and time. And Hasu, who has obviously just dealt a lot more damage so far, may find himself and may overestimate his positioning. The Banelings are still moving around, trying to see if they can deal any additional damage. The Phoenixes most likely will just graviton beam those Banelings if it sees them. The Banelings are not light or armored units, so the only thing that it takes bonus damage from are Archons, if you did not know. And now Banelings hiding out over here. So a lot of Banelings, a lot of Zerglings as well. Infestors with Neural Parasite about to come online as well, as drones now just getting picked apart. Now, normally, I would say Zerg can easily be able to power drone back much more easily, but Moro should at some point at least try to go for 2 Spore Crawlers per base. These Phoenixes are still getting a lot of harassment in. Harvester-wise, 69 compared to 68 now, as we are now power droning 10 more drones once again. So Moro just playing a very interesting style in that he's not really trying to do any pressure. He's just holding on with basic defense at every step in the game so far, and he's not that far behind. You can see the Harvester difference, 2,000 versus 900, as the probes are being transferred over. An Overlord, with Baneling simply destroyed there, as many of these units were taken down. You see a very large army of Zerglings now over here. There are a lot of photon cannons up top as well, so this is not going to work out well. But Baneling bombing runs, I have never seen a Baneling's Baneling carpet bombing really work to the advantage of actually winning the game, as though Moro wants to do. Moro is just trying to win this game off of carpet bombing with those Banelings, and it looks like we are going to have another carpet bombing run in just a moment. And the Phoenixes do catch this, and by moving away back just a little bit, is the Banelings gonna pop out in time? No. But if he had just went straight over, he would have caught it in time, perhaps gotten some of those probes, but instead losing everything. Back here, more Banelings once again being picked up and now on the move. The Corruptors do have a base 2 armor, so they take a seriously reduced damage from any of those Phoenixes. Meanwhile, back over here, Overlords looking to do more drops in just a moment there, as a Phoenix now going to shut down some of those Overlords. One Overlord down, another Overlord going to go down as well, as the Infestors and Banelings and Zerglings with Corruptors. This is almost like Fun Day Monday, where there's not that many unit combinations. And Infestors, Banelings, I guess if you say Banelings, you have to create Zerglings as well, as the Zerglings just simply getting torched into this position here. Not going to be good at all. The Overlords, however, now trying to come in. The Infestors perhaps getting feedback there, but a Neural Parasite there as a Graviton Beam picks up the Infestors, and down they go. But a lot of damage was dealt on both sides. The Corruptors now trying to fight back against the Phoenixes. Losses wise, 86, it was 7,000 versus 8950, as the Corruptors are just desperately trying to run away now. The Corruptors could just turn around and try to battle it out against those Phoenixes, but wow, Zerglings now just swarming in over here. I completely missed that. So, while this was all happening over here, you see now Zerglings simply just running in, and this is an elevator drop of Zerglings straight into the base now, as the Photon Cannon's getting destroyed. More Zerglings coming in, two upgraded Zerglings pushing through, and now these Zerglings are going to get so much damage on the main Nexus and a lot of the production and the main tech buildings. So the Zerglings now swarming in, Zealots trying to fight back against 2-2 Zerglings. The Zealots are only 1-1, so the Zealots are going to have a very difficult time, as what the Zerglings going to try to finish off the Templar Archives, the Stargate, and perhaps take down some additional buildings as well. Down goes the Templar Archives. I believe the Twilight Council was already taken down. So Hasu is now in troubles. There are still a couple Banelings hiding out over here. They are on the stop and hold position to not blow up. Very strict orders to not blow up that pylon as the Zealots and Stalkers are making their way back and trying to reclaim their base. Hasu losing a couple critical pylons here is not able to really warp in off of any serious buildings at all. You can see that the Banelings are now trying to roll away, trying to hide in the back, unable to do so as the Stalkers are there. Army-wise, Moro sitting with a slightly larger army by about 200 or 300 resources at this stage. Moro just making this game look easy. He's like, I don't care how many workers you've killed. You've killed 36 workers, 37 workers. I'm going to rebuild them. I'm going to power drone. I'm going to make sure that I have more harvesters than you. And then when you aren't looking, I'm just going to overrun you with Zerglings. Zerglings now trying to make their way out once again. Zerglings most likely just going to push into this location here. This Nexus is going to get easily destroyed. Corruptors are nearby. And the Banelings are not going to find any serious target at all. The Phoenix is just still wandering about once more as the Zerglings looking to deal more damage, and it's going to be more carpet bombing runs as additional gateways being warped in here. So trying to get those gateways and get back into this battle. Infestors are now Psystorm coming in. The Banelings are trying to come in, but are we getting a bombing run? Yeah, bombing run about to take place here as so much damage is being dealt. Multiple Psystorms. The Banelings getting just absolutely having their way in this mineral line, as both sides are now even in terms of workers killed. Income, 51 harvesters compared to 79. I would hate to be a probe or a drone on this particular map, or in this particular map right now. Your life expectancy is probably down to like 3 minutes. As a Zergling now trying to come in and trying to swarm. The Zerglings are faster. Psystorm now coming in though, and a very beautifully placed Psystorm. But in comes those fungal growths. Are we going to get chain fungal growths? Perhaps yes. Chain fungal growths dealing additional damage towards that, and that's one of the reasons why I think fungal growth is actually better now than Psystorm. It does a significant amount of damage against armored units, 48 damage over 4 seconds. So its actual DPS is on par with a Psystorm. And on top of that, once you hit them with one fungal growth, you can hit them with another and another, and it is essentially undodgeable. So unless you are completely on top of your micro and macro, you are just so far behind. Hasu does have a larger mineral army, but we definitely have a larger gas army by Moro. Overall, it is almost even, as the income discrepancy, though, tells another story. 800 gas a minute versus 300. That means a lot of Zealots will be in this battle, and Zealots are not going to be able to hold their own against the Banelings, against the Banelings, especially with the Infestors casting a fungal growth on those units. Those Banelings are going to just find their way into a Zealot line and simply destroy it in a matter of seconds. Once again, another Zergling drop, and wow, all it takes is 18 Zerglings inside the base to get a lot of damage here, and all of these Zerglings are going to just begin to swarm. And now Phoenixes are going to come over. Zerglings now trying to peck up hard, going after Stalkers once more as the main army here. Where's that fungal growth? Is it going to come in? There you go. There's a fungal growth. Another fungal growth. Feedback now coming in on top of those units. Another fungal growth coming in as the Banelings finding their target. Multiple feedback coming in across the Infestors, though. So, and now, Psystorming his own units. Nicely done. That was an absolute just cute play, as this Infestor should just turn around and get a Psystorm or a fungal growth off there. But wow, Neuroparasiting and then Psystorming on top of himself in order to get that kill. As you can see, a lot of damage dealt to those Zealots there. The Protoss army now significantly behind, as we are now getting into the Catonis plating for Ultralisk. Ultralisk are going to be trained up in just a moment. Infestors, so many of them out, and what looked like a complete one-sided battle by Hasu now looks as though Moro doesn't care and says, I don't care if you take down my units, I'm just going to swarm you as a proper Zerg player should. 171 food versus 84. Infestors and Corruptors. Infestors on the ground, a plenty of energy. That's always a scary proposition when you're going up against High Templars and feedback. Zealots now in position as well. Those High Templars getting that feedback will be able to just simply one-shot and destroy many of those Infestors. But the Infestors do have 3 armor, and the Infestors do move a little bit more quickly, as this is still patch 132, as I mentioned earlier. Infestors now making their way out. We have the Baneling bombing run. Zerglings now trying to swarm. Infestors are going to be able to get off some fungal growths as well. Are we going to get the feedback? There's the Psy Storm. There's the fungal growths. Both sides battling it out. Feedback across multiple units. Damage being dealt. Corruptors now coming in. Zerglings now trying to swarm in as well. As there's the GG by Hasu. So Hasu losing this game tomorrow here on Shattered Temple. And for those of you guys who ever wondered how do you deal with mass phoenixes, just know that as a Zerg player, you can really power drone and lose more workers in the early portion of the game and still have a stronger economy as Moro did. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Mouse Moro and Hasu. This is, like I said, an anti-spoiler video.